Well, hello, ladies. Welcome to this week's episode. This is part two in a series of two videos on how I lead my simple life, and I'm hoping that you'll gain some motivation and inspiration from my tips. Even if you just take one of the tips on board, well, then that will make me feel warm and fuzzy. And it's all about feeling warm and fuzzy, really. So without further ado, I am going to continue with the things that I do to live a simple life. And the first thing for today is that I surround myself with things that I love, and you should be doing the same thing. You know, I love flowers, and so I always make sure that I have a fresh bunch of flowers. I also love to try different types of foods. So I have surrounded myself with different types of meals that I cook for myself because I find for me it makes it interesting. But that might not be you. You might like to surround yourselves with objects of art, maybe hummels, or maybe you're a shoe person. So the whole strategy or tip in this is to surround yourself with the things that you really love. And the other side of that coin is to remove the things that cause you angst, that you don't get a warm and fuzzy feeling from. And it's just as plain as simple as that. Keep the things that you love and get rid of the things that aren't adding value to your life. And sadly, another topic of this would be that includes people, but I'll just address that some other time. First thing, surround yourself with the things that you love. Another thing that I do every single morning is I have a gratitude journal, just like most people. I'm under no illusions, but I write down the things that I'm really happy for. And it's a simple thing like the smell of the coffee, the singing of the birds, the silence, and in this instance now where I am in South Florida, the cool weather. And those all make me feel happy. So I just write them down. And over the years, I've found that when I write them down, then they come to me more often and I appreciate them more. So I would highly suggest creating a journal. You can call it your gratitude journal or your happy journal, whatever makes you feel good. But I would really take note, because that's the whole point. Take note of what makes you feel happy, and take note of all that you have and the gratitude that you really should be showing for all those, not necessarily things, but life in general. So next, excuse the finger. I also, because I like cooking and because I like, one of my favorite things is to eat different types of food, cook different types of food, I make eating an event. And I choose to sit at a table and chairs at least one meal a day. And I make it an event in terms of I put down a cloth napkin with crystal glass, and I decorate the plate very nicely because that's what makes me feel good. So I make eating an event, and you could do the same thing with even, for example, afternoon tea. You might have afternoon tea, and you can make that an event with a tea cup and a tea saucer. I know that Jennifer Scott from the Daily Connoisseur has an afternoon tea, and she makes that event. It's something to look forward to. I'll put the link to her channel if you haven't subscribed. It's a good channel. I would highly recommend it. One thing that I've caught myself doing recently, which I'm not too happy with, is that I will be watching television and also zooming through Instagram on usually dog videos, dog clips. And I realized that my mind can't be focused on two different things. So I'm really, really trying to ensure that I do one thing at a time, that I either look at the boob tube or at the Instagram, because I don't know about you, let me know below, but I can be all consumed with Instagram. And 30 minutes passes and I'm thinking, whoa, what did I do here? It's such a waste of my time. So I have become aware that I need to do one thing at a time. That is on my leisure time, but also with business, because in this world, there's so many things that go on and thrown at us in work. And I have to consciously force myself to do one thing at a time. At nighttime, I make sure that everything is back in its place. And I referred to yesterday, to last week's video, a place for everything and everything in its place. I take great satisfaction turning off the lights at night, knowing that the living room is all ready for me for the next morning. The pillows are correct, that kitchen surfaces are all cleaned, and it just is, it prepares me for the next day, but it gives me the gratitude for knowing that I've done a job well done and keeping the house in order. So I highly recommend at night putting everything away and clearing up and closing off your day. And that could be simply by obviously doing all the dishes, putting the dishwasher on if you use the dishwasher. So those are just that's one of the things that I do at night to prepare for the evening, for the next morning, is I make sure that everything is back in its place. And the reverse actually happens in the morning. I always, always, always make my bed because I find messy outside, meaning the bed, messy inside. And so I make it a point to make my bed. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I am making a big lifestyle change, and I'll put that link right there. And I realize, obviously, that there's a lot going on. So what I have learned to do is to implement and to incorporate into my personal life something that I do in business, and that is I mind map. And I take a piece of paper and pen, and I write down where I am now and where I want to be, and then I fill in the steps to get to that end goal. And I did a video about that also. I'll put that video there. But I have found that by taking everything out of my head, it makes everything so much easier, and it contributes to my simple life. This simple life that I have created, and I'm inspiring you, I'm hoping that you will try my methods. It changes because as I mature, then I look at life a little bit differently, and what was important 2 years ago isn't necessarily important now. What was complicated 5 years ago certainly isn't complicated now. And I have formed this simple life because it suits me. And I wish the same for you, that your life doesn't have to be complicated. But what you do need to do in order to start is you need to stop. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron. How can I go forward, Carolyn, if you ask me to stop, and what does that all mean? You have to stop in order to see what's going on around you. And you have to breathe and just take it all in, and then just take note of what you want, how you feel, and what you want to change and how you want to be, sort of like mind mapping in that sense. And I'm here to tell you that it does work. This simple life has taken me from hard times to simpler times, and I'm no different from any of you. So I highly recommend really analyzing your lifestyle and just pull out even just a couple of these tips. I express them to you because I want you to feel relaxed and inspired and enjoy your own simple life. Okay, so that's it. I wish everyone a good week. I wish you stay well, stay safe. I say it every week, prayers for Ukraine. Let's hope that everything settles down in the Middle East. And again, I welcome all your comments and your feedback below. If you could share this video, I'd really appreciate it because it helps me spread my message and it helps the channel grow. Until next week, ladies, toodles.